Hi guys, Andy here, and welcome back to Lethe. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I know that's what the other Lethe game is called, so it might be the same, might not. Let's continue. This room. Oh yeah, we were unethically discharged. Oh wait. While it was true, it had changed from the usual empty square into a living space. You felt wary. Slowly, you investigated, mildly surprised each time you found something of yours. Looking through the drawers next to the desk, you were left mute by the papers that littered the inside. They looked like your handwriting, but when had you ever studied this hard? Sitting down, you took a moment to focus on your breathing. Enough time had passed from traveling between the hospital to Jaden's apartment for you to come to terms with the present. I want to erase the audio. Well, I mean, that should be good. Okay. But everything seemed so wrong, so fake. You couldn't help but constantly wonder if things were just set up. Jaden stepped into the room and looked around. You could tell he had something to say, and you sighed. What are you doing? You settled in yet? Somewhat insensitive. It still doesn't feel right. Jaden took a moment before speaking again. Well, I'm getting hungry, you know. Silence. What are we doing for dinner? Jaden smiled as though you'd said the right thing. It's more like, what are you doing for dinner? You drew a blank. I don't understand. You make dinner. It's been that way since the start. It was part of the bet. He's a fucking cunt. You know that? Never mind. Jaden looked so sure of himself he couldn't be bothered arguing. Who knew if it was true? You didn't have the energy to fight it. Just let me go to the kitchen. You looked around the kitchen too. Something about it was off, but you couldn't put your finger on it. The cupboards and fridge were filled with things you would usually use to cook, but you sure as hell didn't remember putting any of it there. It's kind of a nice, house, I guess? Apartment? I don't know where they live, actually. When did you get all this stuff? And by nice, I mean it's tidy and neat and very, kitschy. You called out to Jaden in the other room. What stuff? The groceries. Oh, that. He appeared in the kitchen, spooking you slightly. We both went shopping. You pick the stuff, I just buy it. That felt strange to you, the sort of thing that a couple would do rather than a friend. Isn't that weird to you? He's blushing. Jaden gave you a strange look in return of your words. It's not like you get enough money to even look after yourself. You're like a pet. Yeah, he's definitely a cunt. Jeez. You shook your head, half to clear and half to signal your displeasure. Alright, out of the kitchen. Shoo. That's actually the way I am in the kitchen when I decide to cook. I don't like anyone being in the kitchen aside from me. That's about it. I think the only time I've ever had someone else was with a friend, and I was making lasagna soup, and he was helping me out, opening the cans and chopping up stuff I needed. Continuing to explore, you compared the current condition to what you remembered. It was much more similar to your parents' house now. Maybe you really had been here and moved it to make yourself more comfortable. It was a relieving feeling to put the pieces together, and you set to work making dinner. Dinner! You heard Jaden moving to join you, laughing lightly. Well, you haven't forgotten how you call. I think that's something I will always get right. But more about habits. Hey, do you know anything about me studying? Jaden looked up from the plate he received to pull a questioning face. What do you mean? It's not like I watch you. It's just weird. It looks like I've been studying a lot more than I thought I ever would. Jaden shook his head. I don't really know anything about it. Don't particularly care either. Sighing, you went to sit down with him. Hopefully having something to eat would help you relax. You had thought right. Having some food did help relax you, but as soon as you re-entered the room, your anxiety came back. On top of the alien room, you'd return to school tomorrow, regardless of how prepared you felt. It is quite sudden to go back, unless I'm getting the dates wrong. I'm not even paying attention to the dates, to be honest, because I know it's the 31st, but that's about it. And then, you looked to the drawers. I realized something big had changed between what you remembered and what you'd forgotten. Unsure of what on earth could have changed enough for something like that to have happened, you lay down. At the least, you hoped you'd be well rested enough to endure. Ah, it was morning already. You felt as though you'd hardly rested, but you looked to the cupboard inside. No point lounging around. It wasn't as though memories were going to appear any more likely here than at school, and you needed to desperately catch up. Remembering Jaden's words about the test only fueled your anxieties. Time to go. You go to school, exhausted and in pain. Jaden bothers you all morning and into the first period. So what are we in college or high school or something? I have no idea where we're actually going. You spend half the class searching desperately through textbooks and the other half defeated. Even after first period had ended, you felt nauseous. And only one class, the amount of things you didn't understand was tremendous. On top of it all, you had sports nuts and no idea how to deal with it. Fuck sports. Would you fake sick? Tell the teacher? Deal with it? They're gonna pick. Would you even be any use if you played? For a while after class, you lay your head on the desk and drowned out the warning bell with your groans. You decided you just wanted to get through as much as possible. And by that you meant much. You wanted to make it to lunch. You make your way to sports class dragging your feet. How? You look between both guys who refuse to look each other in the eye. Jaden, you could understand being here. He was in your class. But Cameron wasn't. Why are you here, Cameron? You didn't want to offend him, but you wanted to break the silence. Sadly, you realize the fault in your plan. I swear to God, this is punishment or something. Despite his words, you were glad for Jaden's outburst. Do you know what's going on, Jaden? He rolled his eyes. Combined classes for soccer. Suddenly, it made more sense. Hey, stop chatting. The teacher began to raise his voice, silencing everyone as he stood around. Team leaders, Kate and Cameron. You were surprised to hear Cameron's name, but when you looked over to see the class giving him distance, you realized why. Pick your teams, one at a time. Jaden. You weren't surprised to hear Jaden be the first name chosen. He was popular and fit, and they probably thought that meant he was good for teams, and they were right. You, on the other hand, Andy. Eh? You took a moment to even process the words, and then stupidly pointed to yourself. The classes turned to look at you, and Cameron remained still. Okay. Not entirely sure why you were chosen, but happy to not have been the last inevitable choice, you moved to his side. Okay, this fucking music's annoying. Okay, we're gonna do a light dole in my ears. Okay. You looked to Kate's group as Shane Cameron called more people forth, zoning out for the most part. What the hell kind of game is this? You heard Jaden mutter to himself and you frowned lightly. Of course, he always had something to say. Still, you were happy to have been chosen out of free will. Now that you have your teams, Kate, make sure everyone in your group ties this around their waist. Understood. Suddenly, the reality of the event set in. I hope Lethe me has a fucking clue what's going on. I have no idea what's going on anymore. This was sport. You were going to play each other. Obviously, that much is true. Cameron looked toward you and looked away. You had no idea if you'd be capable of even playing seriously. Your team split up positions until you're left as goalie. Oh, fucking great. I don't like sports. Every time I played sports as a kid, I got hit in the face with balls. And not the good kind of balls. I got hit with the football, soccer ball, basketball, volleyball. I got hit with everything as a kid. Not even on purpose. It was just literally me being in the way for no absolute reason. I was always hit. Cameron took the field before the goal, and you did your best not to focus on the nausea bubbling up your throat. Ew. The game began, and you crouched awkwardly before deciding to just stand upright. You didn't know who you were trying to kid. You were in way too much pain to bother. It didn't take long at all before Jaden had the ball, and you watched in mild despair as he made a beeline toward you. He kicked. And you watched as the ball made an even more direct line for your face. Oh Jesus, that's me. You hoped at the least you could block the ball, and you braced for impact. That never came. A whistle blew. And when you opened your eyes, Cameron had the ball in his hand, a half-meter away from you. He turned as though to ask if you were okay, and you felt your legs buckle. The teacher listened to you explain your situation and sent you to get changed and sit in the homeroom until lunch. Cameron is definitely getting a best friend award. And Jaden's a fucking cunt. He's not getting shit. Half of you was ecstatic, and the other half felt lousy. You ruined the game for your team. You sat in a chair, head laying across the table, and counted the seconds that passed. As retribution, you muttered. And in this way, lunch came. You thought about spending lunch in the classroom, or the hall, but neither appealed to you. There were too many people, and you didn't like the way they looked at you. The hum in the classroom was insane. Then, there's Jaden. Well, you thought there was no place to go. Except the rooftop. You stepped onto the rooftop and shuffled over a few meters so that no one could easily spot you from the door. People rarely came onto the roof, mainly because of the sun and the wind, and the warning in the stairwell. Like this, you decided you'd spend your lunch. As you leaned back, you were startled to attention by the sound of someone else on the rooftop. Ah. You were surprised when Cameron appeared. You're here? That's more the kind of thing you wanted to ask him, but you settled for silence and a nod. Feels kinda like you're following me. You meant it entirely as a joke, but Cameron didn't respond, and the hairs on the back of your neck rose. So about sport. Not thinking about whether he was really following you, or if you needed to be afraid of being on the rooftop with him. Thanks for that, the saving thing. No problem. After his brief response, you sat in silence. You weren't the kind of person to thrive on attention and conversation, like Jaden. But, well, the silence was uncomfortable. Before you had the chance to break it, however, Cameron had turned to you. Are you coming to club this afternoon? Your mind reeled. Sewing club is on tomorrow, isn't it? Cameron's stare didn't change, but you watched him shake his head. Then hold on. Sorry. Capri Sun, everybody. I love it. I haven't had it in ages. Homework club. Oh, that sounds horrible. Fuck that. Homework. What? You were sure you were in sewing club. That was one of the few things you were actually good at. But then, the amount of papers in the room. By any chance, would that make me fill out a lot of paper? Cameron now looked at you a little strangely, and you felt your face heat up. And I hope you can't hear a dog barking in the distance. It's my neighbor's. That lives like 2 houses away and across the street. I just found a lot of papers in the room I'm in that I don't remember. You have some of my notes too. Oh, sorry that I forgot. There's only one real answer to your confusion about switching clubs anyway. The same reason you didn't remember the papers. Amnesia. Not your fault. The wind picked up and you took a breath, trying to figure out if you were more shaken over the exertion of your body or mind. And why on earth had you changed to study club anyway? You weren't big on studying. You had never been big on studying. Sewing, on the other hand, was something you thoroughly enjoyed. Well, now that I think about it, I'll probably go home for today. There had been enough excitement for your tired body and mind for today. Hopefully the nurse would be agreeable. Look after yourself. You nodded as you made to leave, the hairs on the back of your neck prickling. Was it just your imagination, or were his eyes following your every movement? The scrutiny made your palms sweat, and you did your best to forget about it as you moved forward. The nurse whatever that word is, with your plea to leave school early. You weren't sure how to feel about Cameron after today. He seemed so worried about you, but at the same time, something was off. You decided to do your best to relax. Resting off your headache with water and painkillers was the best you could do. And like that, time passed. And this is where we're going to end this episode of Lethe. I hope you enjoyed it. It's very short compared to the other one, probably. I don't remember how actually long the first episode is, now that I think about it. This will probably go up. I'm recording this at midnight. I'll probably have it first thing up in the morning as soon as I get up. I do have another episode of Cherry Blossom Murders coming later today. And tomorrow, it's met some really fucking cool shit. And by that, I mean it's gonna be a new thing I want to start for the channel, just because I want to see how it goes. And then I'm also going to have another surprise I will talk about in tomorrow's video. Um, Thank you all for watching. Have fun, be safe, and enjoy yourself. Bye for now. Bye for now.